Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on, helping you understand, best practice, big picture, the whole 9 yards there. Ideally, trying to figure out if we're going to get this bounce off 29,400. So we got this little range that we're in, and we're going to see if that's going to stick. So we'll take a quick look at a few other things as well and kind of just jump right in. Again, if you're new to the channel, thanks again so much for joining me here. I hope you have a good learning experience here, and if you could help us grow our Twitter community, we got some awesome playout charts that I send out consistently, and that you can kind of see here what I've been expecting on the charts for today. Just kind of a bounce down off 29,400. So we'll see if this happens, obviously, and take a look at some other key indications. So what we want to talk about first is on the daily, we can see some new levels here. So if we kind of get a look here, these are basically liquidation levels. Now keep in mind, liquidation levels on the charts like this, they're basically places in which the limit orders are being set. So we can see here a lot of limit orders roughly here is about 30,500. So that's a key level resistance, but also a place in which we could see a short squeeze if the price comes up that high, because once again, shorts are leveraged at that level with their stop losses. Same thing here as well at 29,100 for longs. Obviously, there's quite a few others as well, depending on your trading strategy, but generally speaking, 29.1 and 30,500 is effectively that range that we're going to probably anticipate the price action staying within because of those key levels. We can see whales are more active today, driving the price action down, and we have a lot more shorts in play. In other words, longs getting liquidated versus shorts here today. We can also see shorts excelling here, whereas we got a lot more closed positions for longs and a larger amount of open positions for shorts today. Okay. So we put those two things together, the price action could very well continue lower. Doesn't mean that it will, but it does tell us that there's slightly more short bias right now in the market. Okay? Taking a look at bias here, let's see what the longs are at here. So we got net longs kind of spread out all over the place. I'd say the largest accumulation is 29,500. Some of them are in the red. We got some late longs here at 29,400. So 29.4, 29.5 for the longs. Shorts are also spread out. We got some late shorts here as well. So a lot of folks are thinking that the price is going to either break up or break down at 29,400. What do you know? That's a key level of support based on Fibonacci retracement. So I do think that we should see that hold, mainly because we saw a lot of volume here in the recent past, right there at the 29,200 range. Okay, so again, we got decent volume profile at 29.2. Therefore, 29,400, that range of 200 to 400 should hold unless we have a massive amount of volume push the price action down. In the past, we've seen somewhere between half a billion to a full $1 billion pushing into the market at in like 3 or 4 minutes at one time. That's what we're going to need to be able to see the price action come down lower. Okay. That being said, we have more likelihood of the price going up than down because of that sentiment there, due to the fact that we need a lot of volume to get through this wall of volume that we already have just below the price. Okay, so again, it's important that we built that foundation, and it's important to build on it, and ideally we are going to continue higher because of that. Now again, we don't make a decision based on one thing, we look at everything, and we'll see what else we can determine. So as we talked about yesterday, we are above the 20-day simple moving average. That is averaging itself out right at 29,400. I'm rounding down a little bit, it's actually 29,330, but 29.3, maybe that's the best way to describe it. So 29,300 is that key level, that support that we're seeing here so far with that moving average. Same thing with the 50 though, you got to keep in mind that's the inverse. It's actually a resistance level. Okay, so 29,900 is that resistance for the price action. So keep in mind, gonna need a lot more volume to get past that level too. So in all reality, we're kind of just stuck in this tight little range between 29.3 and 29.9 as a close approximate with those moving averages. Take a look at the RSI, we can see we're coming back down to 50. We don't get this bounce from here, then we are effectively breaking bearish once more. Okay, so again, like I mentioned yesterday, we're tentatively bullish. Emphasis on tentative because we are above some resistances. Yes, it's all nice, well and good. We converge on the MACD as well, but that momentum can dissipate over time if there's too much selling pressure, which we are seeing that so far. We also have that previous volume, shelf, if you will. So again, that's why we're working ourselves into a little bit of a wedge here, and there's no definitive direction at this point that we can see where the price action is either going to break up or down. We just know that we're above a key level of support or previous resistance, new support, and that we have a resistance shelf there based on moving averages. Okay. Take a look here. We can see we are starting to make lower lows and tentative lower highs, but prior to that, we were making higher highs and higher lows. In the big picture, though, we are still making higher lows if you look at it. So again, as long as our next low isn't somewhere in the range of 28.8 or lower, we should be in good shape. Ideally, we're going to want to close today above 29,300, though. That's just the bottom line. If we lose this level here today, it'll become kind of iffy, right? If we take a look at the moving averages, once again, we're treading water right there at about 50 on the RSI. Anytime you see that, it tells us that we have that strong support level, and one of two things will happen. The price leg should either hold or it'll break through. It'll take a lot of volume to break through this level, though. You got to keep that in mind, just based on the previous resistance here, turn support, and the amount of volume we have at this level. But there's no doubt that we have a 4-hour MACD divergence here that occurred sometime last night, depending on obviously where you live. And that does tell us that we have a shift in momentum to the downside. Okay? But you got to keep in mind, stochastic is starting to swing upwards here, or starting to average itself out. So we could very well see that bounce, which I'm hoping for. Okay. Taking a look at the 1 hour, we can kind of see here as well. Let's take a quick peek at a few other indications here. Just to clarify, we came up to a 9 on TD sequential previously, and we also hit an 8 following that. That's why we got rejected pretty hard. We were overextended going into that key level resistance at 30,100. Okay. So that being said, it makes sense where the price came down here to another 7 and another 6, and that we are still holding kind of low here because we had a lot of profits that needed to be taken there at that level. Okay. We saw some fair value gaps that just got filled here recently, and I forgot to look at this on the 4 hour. Obviously, we have some previous ones. There's nothing really super substantial on larger time frames for those gaps. Okay, so again, not a lot of liquidity grabs, if you will. We do have some liquidity on either side, of course, but once again, those key level supports and resistances. 28,800, we've already identified that as a support range there. And then also a resistance level here, 29.9. What do you know? For the price action, we have a lot of liquidity there. Okay, so again, definitely some cool stuff there in that sense, as far as things you don't normally look at that are very helpful. But the key takeaway here is that we don't have any definitive direction. I would say I'm leaning slightly more towards the price going up because the fact that we have that support level there at 29,400/300. Okay. Now, I felt comfortable taking a long position yesterday as well because I feel like that level is going to hold. So that gives you any indication of where we're at, and that's kind of the gist there. But the bottom line here is that at this level, we got to expect anything to happen. We haven't truly broken free yet. While we are tentatively making higher highs and higher lows in the bigger picture, we're still not quite there yet. We haven't broken through any specific ranges. Okay, so again, a little premature to celebrate is all I'm saying here. Let's take a quick look at the Ichimoku cloud and wrap this up. We are breaking below the cloud now at this point, which was expected because yesterday we were kind of right here going into the cloud. It didn't make a ton of sense unless we stuck at like 29,900 for the day, and that wasn't happening, right? So again, we're below lagging spans here, free and clear, conversion line below the baseline. There's really no reason to want to take a long or a short position at this level. Okay? In truth, again, from a swing trader's perspective, because this isn't really a swing trading tool, you can extract that we have slightly more bullish continuation potential. But from a day trader's perspective, and you're looking at smaller time frames as you work your way down, you can see obviously we are moving in a downward trend. But you got to recognize too, there are some patterns forming here as well. Okay? In other words, we got the price continuing higher, working itself into an ascending type of wedge. Oftentimes when it derives from the bottom, it'll continue itself in this pattern and then break out to the upside. Okay? So again, I try not to get try not to talk too much about like patterns on smaller time frames, because once again, the 1 hour time frame, the patterns are a little less effective than the 4 hour time frame, right? And so on. But truth be told, we do have a nice little pattern here where we're making lower highs and parallel lows. Typically, that's a breakout potential to the upside, only because it derived from the downside. Okay. And again, what do you know? That downside has a tremendous amount of volume at this level. So to me, it just feels like unless we see a monstrous amount of volume, we're going to see the price continue higher. We could very well see a liquidation candle where the price action comes right down like the 28.5 range and then dips, it comes right back up. Those things do happen, so be mindful of that and be very careful with your stop losses at this level. The key takeaway here is try not to be a crazy nutcase with 125x, 200x. I know a lot of people do that, and that's really not the right impression you want to have. Again, some folks, and be mindful of this too, on Twitter all over the place, people are posting trade results with trades that are still open. They haven't effectively closed their position. So I don't really trust a trade that is still open, honestly. They say that they claim they're taking profits, but it's hard to really say specifically, right? And you don't know how much they're using to trade too. Some people that are using 200x are probably $5 or $10 positions because it doesn't matter if you get liquidated. I just want you to be safe. That's why I'm saying that. So please, 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 if you're going to be following those trends and following those people, make sure you use your own good risk tolerance. Don't do a trade because they're taking one, or do not adjust your ratios because someone else is doing that. Try not to be a follower. Try to be a leader in this market, and I can tell you, you're going to find a lot more success learning to trade on your own instead of trying to follow on the heels of others. Yeah. So again, just because I offer trade signals, that's mainly the reason why I like to say that. Use your own risk tolerance and develop a good system for you, and then decide to maybe take some different steps in other directions. All right, I hope that makes sense for you. I hope you get where I'm coming from here. Thanks again so much for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Greatly appreciate all the support. Thanks you too also to my followers and my members, getting some really cool feedback on our like our Discord, for example, and some of the comments down below. Let me go ahead and show you just really quick here a thank you that I got from one of my recent members here. We just pulled this up here for our Discord. It says, you're by far the most humble trader I know. Greatly appreciate that. Always a straight shooter, no BS like other traders out there. So again, just some really awesome, heartfelt comments. So I deeply appreciate it. Thank you again so much for everyone. Again, being a great part of my life there. Thank you. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in tomorrow's video. Take good care.